Is it your opinion that the victim was extorting you? I've seen this several times in different reports.
In my heart, yes, I do believe that was his intent. My religion for me is very big, so I pray for his family, and people don't understand that. They say, how can you pray for someone like that, you know, that put you here? But it's not him that put me here at all. And it's like, I'm praying for peace for them. I really do. And I hope he does find that.
We've got today the story of Andie Rosafort, lunch lady in New Fairfield, Connecticut, who claims that the boy tried to extort her, the freshman in high school tried to extort her after she sexually assaulted him outside of a party in the middle of the night in her car in January of 2023. She further claims that the support she received in prison and in her community, saying, you know, many people are confused why I'm praying for my victim because everybody's telling me that he put me here. He did this. I'm the victim in all of this. And I'm just, you know, all these people are so supportive of me and blaming the child, blaming the victim. And they don't even want me praying for the kid that I molested because he put me here. That's the perspective that we've got with these stories like this, with female predators. Angles. Yet another angles of why women mostly get away with these crimes because the boys are not reporting them by the tens of millions. Then when they are actually caught because a mom finds out, in this case, a friend who was at the party that the boy came back to after he was sexually assaulted in a car outside in the middle of the night, comes back in, change of behavior, ask questions. The boy starts, you know, changing his behavior over weeks. Friend notices something wrong, tells his parents, who tells the boy's parents, and this case spirals from there. That's how this got revealed yet again. Angles, not a self-reporting male victim that has been helped by society and told by society that you are a victim. In the case of male predators, you know, it's assumed immediately the support for boys and girls when they report is they are absolutely victims. You should be empowered to be victims, not when the predator is a woman. They are not empowered. And this child was not empowered by society, not empowered by culture. It was a friend who told his parents, and then the case went from there. She calls him a liar, you will see, and basically says the boy reveals by force that these things happened to him, as well as her requesting nude photos of himself, as well as sending nude photos and videos of herself to him on none other than Snapchat. Yes, adults like her should be communicating really with young boys on Snapchat through using the disappearing messages, right, of all of her that she now claims too that was sent to him by accident, right? She claims that she sent a lot of nude videos and photos by accident. She instead was trying to send it to all you cuck people out there, men that aren't getting any from the bar that you spend tens of thousands of dollars a year and going to Andrew Tate's University. She ain't fucking with you. She's doing it with the 14-year-old, sending him videos, those photos, but were meant for you, right? I don't think so. It's so hard for a lot of men to find ladies to have sex with, and yet here they are. This is where they all are. So go back to your keyboards and say how you wish you were 13 and 14 again, because that's the only way you might have been able to get laid, is by being a young boy again, because you're certainly not doing it now as you support a pedophilic culture in society. So we're going to take a look at the case of Andie Rosafort, who was convicted of and sentenced to 30 months in Connecticut State Prison. Thank you to Mandu, who covered this parole hearing, as well as obtained some of the videos. Mandu runs two channels, Mandu 1, Mandu, and Mandu 2, Channel 2. He covers a lot of parole hearings, including in Louisiana and, of course, Connecticut in his main channel, of a lot of offenders like this. Not remorseful, cold and calculating, and manipulative. So we thank Mandu for all of his work in covering these parole hearings. So we're going to get right into it and take a look of the case of lunch lady Andie Rosafort and her petition to be released as soon as possible from Connecticut State Prison.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Andie Rosafort, inmate number 450012. She is serving a sentence of 10 years suspended after 30 months with 10 years probation. Second, as of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of November 17th, 2025. There is victim input in the case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows she has completed the WARNA and the short track sex offender program. Utilizing the Women's Risk Needs Assessment WARNA, the offender's overall state of recidivity falls within the rule of range. Ms. Rosefort, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You've hit again.
Say that again?
So this is your chance to tell the board
You're an
why
idiot.
you think you should be granted parole.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to thank you all for the.
First of all, look at these glasses and look at this demeanor. She's coming in pretty excited, almost happy. I don't see any bruises on her face at all from being beaten in the female prison. I don't see her getting shanked like we've got everybody, JD DeLay and everybody saying about the male prisons when it comes to predators. I don't see that with her. She sexually abused a kid, and yet she seems pretty like this is, she's getting ready to get a Trump pardon.
Privilege of speaking before you today. I want you to know that I don't take this opportunity lightly. I spent my 20s becoming a young mom and a wife, two roles that I took with such honor. Through time, I grew into feeling unloved, unseen, unheard, and sometimes alone. Eventually, I was seeking that attention from my victim, which is where I lost a grasp on life for a short period of time. Through filling a void in my life, I negatively impacted the victim, where he feels shame, anxiety, and humiliation. I have extreme empathy and remorse to his family, and I am truly accountable and take responsibility for my crime. I also would like to apologize to the community where I once lived, as well as my entire family. In the last 14 months of being here, I have sat with myself and dug deep to process a lot of my actions that led up to this. Through daily opportunities here, I chose to attend many groups such as coping skills, DBT, recovery, standing strong, and self-esteem classes. I go to church weekly, and I run a small Bible study group on my tier each morning, which I'm extremely proud of.
But of course.
I have held the tier laundry position for 11 months and completed my S1 referral into Dr. Sheffel's PSB class. I have proudly lived here and spent my time the correct way, discipline-free. Here at York, it's a place where I have learned so much about myself and others. It's in my soul to encourage and uplift anyone who needs a little grace, because Lord knows I need it sometimes. I have been able to apply that here daily. When I do go home, I look forward to rebuilding my life and teaching my daughters we are a strong family unit and we can do hard things together. I'm a woman with a past, yet I have hope for a beautiful, simple future ahead. I'm very fortunate to have family, neighbors, coworkers, clients, and friends who truly believe in me. I was someone who deserved punishment, condemnation, and criticism. I was at fault for this crime, and my victim won't be the same. However, I courageously look forward to doing the right thing with an apologetic and contrite heart. I will take action and continue therapy with my therapist at home, but most of all, if granted, I can't wait to be back with my kids again. I really want to thank you all for this opportunity to speak here for today.
Thank you, Mr. Rosefort.
Thank you.
So what we've done is we've read about your background, what you've done since you've been in your interview with the parole officer. And based upon that, we have some questions that we're going to ask you to bring clarity to some of the things that we might need to. And then we're going to hear from the Office of Victim Services. Then we'll talk about your case and give you a decision, okay?
Thank you.
And we're going to start questions this morning with Board Member Sazauskas.
Good morning, Ms. Rosafort. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
She couldn't be better.
So we're just going to go through
What
some
could be
questions
better
and try to
than being a
clarify some
female
of the
sex
things I
offender
read
in
in some of the
prison where you're
documents.
faced with zero?
There are a lot of
of the
different
situations
versions,
that
I guess, the
you
best way to say it is, of what occurred, at different points throughout the legal process that have come out.
Mhm.
I appreciate your opening statement, taking responsibility, and that helps bring some clarity for me to some of the things. But we're going to go through the questions.
Sure.
Is it your opinion that you sent the victim these inappropriate photos and videos, or some of them by accident? Is that still your opinion?
That was one of her theories.
One of them, yes.
And so is that, you're talking about the very initial situation, the very first photograph or video?
No.
Okay.
So which one do you claim is by accident?
Your initial contact with sending
Accident.
inappropriate photos or videos, that was not an accident. You intentionally sent those.
To a 14-year-old.
That was intentional at first, correct?
Okay. Did you ask the victim to send you nude pictures of him? Did you
No.
ask him? Have you read the police reports? You're aware that that's part of this, that has been stated?
Oh, yeah.
I am aware that has been stated.
So you never requested, your opinion, what you're saying today is that you never requested nude photos from the victim of himself?
No, I did not.
So she's immediately calling the victim a liar here because the boy, 14 years old, said that she requested nude photos of him and she sent him a series of nude photos of herself and videos. She claims some of them were sent by accident. And she claims, again, this is at her parole hearing, by the way. So we're already off to a really dicey start of her. I like how he says that we've taken responsibility. She sounds like she's taking responsibility. She's calling the victim a liar, and she's saying that she sent photos to him by accident. Truly taking, Andie, you're really taking responsibility, aren't you? And I guess this is the most we can ask for.
Do you think that the victim is partially at fault for what happened?
No, I don't. I am an adult. I was in a position of working in a school and I was wrong. I should not have, seen this
Molested a
through any
14-year-old.
further. So I definitely don't put any blame on him at all.
Is it your opinion that the victim was extorting you? I've seen this several times in different reports.
In my heart, yes, I do believe was his intent.
Okay, so she's here at her parole hearing because, of course, she's going to petition to get off immediately, the minimum required. She was sentenced to 30 months in prison, surprisingly. Lunch lady wants off, and she wants off as soon as she possibly can. So she comes in to take responsibility for her crimes by saying the victim lied, saying she sent photos to him by accident, and now saying that the boy tried to extort her. And even if he did, which I don't believe a word she says, even if he did, good for him. The boys maybe are starting to fight back, that if society won't let them be victims and report this abuse, in this case, yet another case of a boy failing to report himself. This kid didn't step forward and say, I'm a victim. I want to file a report against the lunch lady. No, his friend told his mother and then the parents, and then the case unfolded. This was not a victim coming forward and self-declaring an initial outcry. We just don't have male victims making the initial outcry. Almost ever. Even though we see these reports in all the time of lunch lady and others like her, most of the time, if you dig deep enough, like we've done here on this channel, when you dig deep back into how the case unfolded, it's never the male victim, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and heaven forbid, an adult, a man coming forward and saying, I was molested as a kid by a woman. I've never seen that. but we do see this cases get reported. So this case got reported. So she's truly taking responsibility and accountability by claiming the victim was trying to extort her, claiming that he was lying about certain abuse, and the fact that she, sent him pictures of herself by accident, and the fact that he claims that she wanted to. This is silence here.
You mentioned a little bit about this in your opening statement, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you think the long-term effects may be on the victim and the victim's family, what they might experience after all of this.
I know I can't imagine what it feels like to be in their position. I've spent the last almost 3 years after everything happened thinking about that. I know that he feels extreme shame and guilt and anxiety. I know from previous documents that I've read, he has sleepless nights and dealing with mental issues, which I hope he's, able to get therapy for.
Well, you seem very warm, and
I truly do.
sad,
My religion
cold
for
and
me is very big, so I do. I pray for his
Religion is
family,
big.
and
She prays for his
people don't
family.
understand that. They say, how can you pray for someone like that? That put you here, but it's not him that put me here at all.
Okay, here's where we stop and we really actually unpack that. Did you all just hear this? What just happened here?
Sleepless nights and dealing with mental issues, which I hope he's, able to get therapy for. But I truly do. My religion for me is very big, so I do. I pray for his family, and people don't understand that. They say, how can you pray for someone like that? That put you here, but it's not him.
That's who female predators have in their life. This is in the prison system. There's no shanking her. She looks perfectly happy. She looks like she's got her makeup on. There's no wounds. There's no beating up. In fact, in the female prison system, she is asked, how could you pray for that boy and his family? He's the one that put you here, right? Because that happens in male prisons a lot, right? Where a male comes in with dirty papers of molesting a 13-year-old or 12-year-old or 14-year-old girl or boy. And all the inmates are telling him, how could you pray for your victim? She put you here. See? Angles. The support in the prison system. There ain't no prison justice in the female prison system. These women in the prison system are gathering around and telling this pedophile and predator that she's the victim, and how dare she pray for her victim that put her here. It's the boy's fault that put you here, and we aren't going to hurt you. We're going to rally around you and protect you and shield you.
That put me here at all.
Angles.
And it's like, I'm praying for peace for them. I really do. And I hope he does find that.
You do. That cold face. She really hopes her victim finds peace.
All right, we're going to move on to some of the programming that you've done. This coping skills program is for sex offenders, right? Is that program
Correct.
you completed?
Correct.
Can you tell us the kinds of things that you've learned that can help you so that this kind of thing doesn't happen again when you're out?
Molest a 14-year-old and blame
Yeah,
him.
we did a lot of that in group with Dr. Scheffel. And at first it was a little jarring, the class, because there was a lot of situations that were brought up that I never even thought were possible, to be honest. But it was, in the end, really great to see the victim's point of view and to see how, when we're put in different situations, we just need to walk away. I'm a mother, first and foremost. So for me, being around kids is something that I'm not going to do unless it's my own children. So putting myself in those situations is something I am not willing to put my neck on the line for. We learned about the different levels of relationships and friendships and boundaries that we should be keeping. And I think during my time here, even though I'm now 34 years old, I have learned boundaries. I have found my voice. I know how to say no. There is no swaying one way or the other.
But Andie, you've said no to many adult men at the bar at night, and you've turned down so many men. You could say no, but you couldn't do it for a 14-year-old freshman in high school. So all the men out there that are celebrating this, that Andie, you turned down, they're celebrating for
No
you
is
not
no,
turning down a
and,
14-year-old, but turning
yes is
them
yes.
down from the bar.
And I stick firm to that. And I've learned that all here in multiple classes.
Great. That's
So when you say, I know how to say no, I mean, are you saying that you were taken advantage of in some way? Do you feel like you were taken advantage of by someone?
No, not in my crime situation, but in other ways in my life.
Okay.
That's exactly what she's saying. That's exactly what she's saying. This boy came on to me, as every predator and pedophile says all over time. This boy came on to me. It's his fault. I'm the victim. I need to learn to set boundaries and say no when all these boys are coming after me. The lunch lady.
Definitely was a people pleaser. Yeah.
Okay, I understand that.
She
Thank
said
you for
exactly.
clarifying that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How do you think you've changed the most since you've been in prison?
Have you gotten beaten up?
I don't mean to get emotional, but a lot of people think that prison is the worst place for you to go.
Not for a
And they
female
think
sex
that
offender.
It's gonna change you for the worst. And every day, I'm thankful for my opportunity to be here
But yet you won out at
and
the
to
first
learn
opportunity.
from different women and see the pain that they've gone through. And I carry that with me because a lot of these women are also victims.
Victims like me.
And
I'm a
that's
molested
where I've
pedophile, but I'm a
learned
victim.
just true compassion and grace and just how to love people the right way and giving them what they need when they need it in the right way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You told the parole officer during an interview that you thought your sentence was fair. Do you still believe that?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. You're on the waiting list, it looks like, according to my records, for the New Thoughts program and the Voices program. Have you heard anything about when they might start?
No. I've been eagerly waiting for 14 months wanting to start it because I hear the New Thoughts program is great, but I have not heard back yet.
Okay, let's talk about your release plan. Can you talk about where you plan to live and work and how you plan to stay away from further problems with the law when you get out?
Yeah. Truly, I'm not concerned about further problems with the law at all. That's not anything that weighs on me. I've gone 33, 32 years. Clean slate, never any issues with the law or breaking the law. So that I don't worry about.
And there's another problem with a lot of these offenses that female predators and pedophiles have a clean record. Never did anything wrong, allegedly. And then they commit the most egregious crimes. So they apply to teaching jobs and coaching jobs. And there's moms popular in the community, the PTA, and everywhere around where kids are, because everybody trusts a lunch lady that looks like this, right? No, you shouldn't. This is a cold and calculating woman who, to me, is one of the most dangerous people and should not be left out in society for a long time. She is manipulative. She is conniving. She is basically creating a manipulation for this parole board that says that she is taking accountability while calling the victim a liar and saying that he extorted her and saying that she didn't mean to send him the photos that she absolutely meant
About
to
at
send.
all. Where I'm going to live, I'm going to be
Because she didn't mean those photos for dudes at the bar that are paying and not getting any. She didn't mean those photos for them, but that's what
living
she
with
did. They were sent
family
by accident.
in Southbury, Connecticut. It's just going to be me, my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin. And I'm going to be working at the salon that I previously worked in before I was incarcerated. And I know they're eager to welcome me back. I'm very blessed to keep in touch with my boss, and she comes and visits me, and they're eager to get me back. And, I can't wait.
They are eager to have a sex offender and predator back in the salon working for them. Forget that she's a convicted felon and she's going to register as a sex offender. Her boss, yet again, angles the reintegration back into society, the supportive community, the jail system and the prison system that doesn't even know that she's a predator and a sexually abused a kid. And the folks that do know that she's a predator and sexually abused a kid are saying, how dare you pray for your victim? He put you here. He did all of this to you.
To see all the clients and everyone else who's been praying and uplifting
the supporting
me
angles.
through these
This
last
is why
2
it's
years.
easy for female predators to get away with this behavior.
Okay, thank you for answering my
Do not
questions. That's
face
all I have.
anywhere
Let's see what
near
my
the same
colleagues
punishment that
have
they
anything
should.
else. Thank you.
Thank you. Board member 2.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your answers so far. When you were speaking with the officer in preparation for the hearing today, you told the officer that when you first came to prison, you were angry.
Super.
What were you angry about?
I was angry because I never had to leave my kids. I've never had to be away from my kids. There was a lot of control that I had to give up with coming here. And that was really difficult for me. I was angry because, like I said, I was a mother. I was the go-to for everything. And going through a divorce, that all fell on me as well. Through time, my ex-husband and I were now great co-parents, even while I'm incarcerated. But it was a control that I had to give up, and that was really hard for me. Yeah.
A lot of female predators, they have a tremendous amount of control in their life. And when men are facing the legal system, they have to give up a lot of control. And they have to go through the system. And going through the system really humbles a person. Female predators such as her are not used to having to go through the system. She did not know that she would face justice in this case. She thought she could get away with this and she could maintain the level of control. Going through divorce, losing her kids, going to prison, not being able to manipulate. That is what has to happen to what I would consider sociopaths like this woman is. And so many of Andie Rosaforts are out in our world today by the millions that didn't go through this, that are still out there getting away with high crimes and misdemeanors and with a level of control over their life as, manipulative Karens to a degree, while also being pedophiles underneath the dark underbelly.
I want to ask, so you have daughters, and I want to ask if your oldest had someone working at the school that friended her on, social media and then sent her an unsolicited naked pic, would go to their games and practices and video record her and send it to her. And would you feel that after a year and if your sentence, it would be okay for them to come out now?
To be honest, I don't know how I would feel. Like I said, my religion is big to me, so I pray for forgiveness for a lot of people.
I pray for forgiveness to my victim who I molested.
In my heart, I think if I knew that person had children and I knew the impact it was having on their kids, I would think it would be a sufficient amount of time.
Sure you would.
If they had with your daughter in the car? And then she suffered what this child suffering?
Again, I think I don't know how I would feel in their position, but yeah, I do think it would be enough time in my heart.
When you were in the community awaiting trial or trial was going on, were you how were you talking about this with people in the community? You know, if people asked you about it and you were posting on social media and stuff, how are you, I guess, talking about this? Were you being honest and acknowledging responsibility?
As per my lawyer's request, I did not speak about it at all. When people asked me, I kept my mouth shut and I let it all unravel in court and in the paper, however it fell. I didn't stay in the community. I left. I went to my parents' house.
It'd be nice to be with parents at a time like that.
It was everything.
Surprised you didn't go back to your husband and he waited for you with open arms during all of this.
We did see receive at least 15 letters of support.
Bam, bam, bam. 15 letters of support.
Did want to ask did you help people with the language for the letters? Did you send them key points to mention or?
No, I only know of 4 letters that I think my parents, maybe my aunt and uncle, and my boss sent in. But I haven't talked to anyone else.
Ghost letters, probably from some cucked men.
Their network probably worked with each other because there was very similar phrases and words used. And one actually had at the top the list of points I think they were supposed to make, and then the letter that incorporated them. And then I noticed those same words and phrases were used in other letters. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know there was 15 letters, to be honest. I only knew of the 4.
Yeah, it was, you do have a lot of support, which is wonderful. And hopefully that will really help you.
Super wonderful.
When you do it.
That communities feel so empowered to write letters of support for predators and pedophiles. We typically never see that unless you're Epstein or something for men. They usually
transition home to
if they survive prison.
Further
they don't have
self-work
a waiting community with adoring arms with a boss ready to take them to reintegrate.
Hopefully remember this victim, as well, and send him grace. One other thing, and I don't know if it's really a question. So the place you want to return to, your own uncle, sounds wonderful, and they did submit letters, but it was mentioned it is a 55 plus community, and so I was wondering if you guys have all looked into whether you're allowed to move in there, and and it's I guess more. Yeah, did they ask
so that's not where my aunt and uncle live. That was a second option. That was for my grandparents. That was my first option, but because it was a 55 and up and because it's an HOA, I didn't want to risk, the process of being denied and then going back. So that's why I chose my aunt and uncle, and they were gracious enough to offer me to stay there. So yeah.
Right, thank you. I just wanted, I didn't want you to get out and then
using
realize
a 14-year-old card to move
I know. I'm
55 and older community.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Rosefort, your portion is over, and we're gonna hear from the Office of Victim Services. You can't interrupt during this time.
No problem.
Then we're gonna talk about your case, and we're gonna give you a decision, okay?
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Vasquez. Could you help us here, please?
Good morning, Chair and board members. I had the opportunity of speaking with family members of the victim, and they have asked me to read this letter, 2 letters on their behalf.
Let's hear this.
Good morning, board members. I am writing to convey the profound impact that Andie Rosafort's actions have had on my family, and most importantly, on my son. Andie friended my son on Snapchat when he was just 12 years old. At 12 years old, I'm going to use victim's initials. M was a fun, loving, kind-hearted child whose presence filled our home with laughter and joy. Our house was once alive with the sounds of his friends and the warmth of shared memories. Sadly, that vibrant atmosphere has now been replaced with an emptiness that weighs heavily on us all. Although he continues to arrive at school each day, beneath that stoic facade lies the weight of his hidden depression. Articulating this tragedy's impact on our family seems nearly impossible, and we recognize that it will be a lifelong process. My son was a child who consistently demonstrated kindness and empathy, even earning a kindness award in 5th grade. He was the kind of kid who saw the good in everyone and gave his trust freely. Andie exploited his trusting nature, which led him into a dark and confusing place. Her manipulation and deceit have isolated him from his friends and shattered the close-knit family dynamic we once cherished. Excuse me. Our home now feels silent, devoid of the joy that our son's presence once brought. The friendships that once brightened his days are now distant memories, and he struggles to find support in a world that feels increasingly alien to him. He is now a shadow of his former self, unsteady, confused, and alone. This profound change has deeply affected our...
But I thought boys love this. I thought boys enjoy this. This is their dream, to be sexually abused by an adult. I thought the change from this loving, kind-hearted kid would soar after something like this, not become cold and distant and depressed and dark. No, I thought an adult woman's pedophilic obsession with a young boy was every child's fantasy, that he should enjoy and should have loved and be treated like a hero as legendary at school. I didn't know that the reality was something different, that those closest to him now can articulate.
Entire family, leaving us grappling with a reality that seems almost unrecognizable when we look back at old family photos. Instead of enjoying social events and the excitement of what lies ahead, his high school years are marked by solitude. This will define his high school memories. His spirit was crushed not just by the betrayal of someone he trusted, but also by Andie's continued disregard for his well-being. Even after her arrest, she showed no remorse for her actions. Instead, she persisted in parading around town, spreading lies and misinformation that further wounded him and our family. Her social media posts, flaunting her court date outfits and boasting about her supposed strength, have been a painful reminder of her indifference throughout this ordeal. Her behavior has only deepened the scars she has inflicted. My son is a sweet, trusting, and sensitive kid who made one grave mistake by placing his trust in the wrong person. He is now struggling to navigate a colder and more hostile world. The joy of high school, the excitement of friendships, and the simple pleasures of youthful experiences have all been taken from him. He is left with no friends, no confidence, and only a hollow shell of the vibrant child he once was. As a family, we're working tirelessly to rebuild his confidence and restore the pieces of his shattered self. We hope to remind him of the kind, caring, and funny boy he once was. But that journey is daunting. It would have been meaningful to see some genuine remorse from Andie, to acknowledge the damage she has caused and the hurt she continues to
But why?
perpetrate.
She faces no consequences.
Instead, we are left with the painful task of picking up the pieces and trying to mend
She
his
can go
broken
get her
spirit.
OnlyFans and be the lunch lady
This
porn.
statement conveys the deep impact Andie's actions have had on our lives and the challenge we face in helping our son heal. So I ask you this: why should she be shown any remorse? Why should she be granted freedom when we all have been and will continue to be imprisoned by the pain she caused? She is a calculated predator and should not be granted parole. Thank you for your understanding and consideration. The next letter reads like this. Dear board members, I am writing to you regarding the possible parole of Andie Rosafort. Andie Rosafort sexually assaulted my child. There is not enough time nor space to express the devastating impact her actions have had on my son, our family, and our community. Instead, I will be brief and concise. Andie Rosafort is a calculated predator and a threat to society. Her crime against my son was not a momentary lapse in judgment. It was a prolonged, calculated, patiently executed assault. This is a dangerous person. She has shown no remorse for her actions. Instead, she has displayed only flightless arrogance and utter disregard for the damage she has inflicted on others. I fully believe that any remorse she shows now is entirely artificial and only in her own self-interest. Andie Rosafort put us all in prison the night she assaulted my child. We will now be here forever. She should not serve a minute less than that generously lenient sentence she was given. To do so would be an injustice and an insult to my son, our family, and the justice system that she made work so hard to put her where she is.
See, this family knows this family gets it of this boy. Not only do they accurately display for the world to see what this does to a child, even though the fakery and the bullshit and the trying desperately to deflect and to shield that this doesn't damage kids, this is positive for boys, this is their development and becoming manhood. No, this family lays it out raw to show it but they get it that she so desperately fought and worked so hard to have to put her where she is. See, the system ain't easy. This ain't that man did something to me, and because he's a man, boom, we don't need any evidence and send him away for 38,000 years. No, the justice system has to work so hard because women predators fight back with every bit and ounce that they can, even though they're guilty as hell. They fight. And detectives have to get every ounce. It ain't easy. You know, when detectives get a pred case, oh shit, you said what? He did what to you? Boom, criminal charges, 24 months at least in the criminal system, with no evidence, possibly no corroborating. Believe me, these cases require a ton of work by investigators.
Thank you, board members. This is all that I have to
corroborate the accusation.
Thank
No
you,
one's going to believe a boy accusing an adult woman of this because they don't.
Board members
this.
Sylvester.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Ms. Rosefort, in the documents I reviewed leading up to this, really did not show a lot of remorse and, was blaming really a lot of it. It's the victim. But today she came forward and I was happy to hear that she was able to express what she's learned in programming and how she feels remorse. She apologized to the community in general.
Why do you need to apologize to the community?
Things. So I thought that was.
But the victim extorted me. I apologize to the community.
I was concerned, however, that's where my question that I carefully worded. She still is blaming the victim and could not hold back from saying her belief that she believes the victim was extorting her. And that's something that I have read several times, not from anyone else, but only from her.
So what you were?
I don't see any evidence of that. Any of the documents, that there was some kind of extortion taking place.
Many boys don't do anything. They keep it a secret. They keep it in. At least he was knowing what the crimes were. Many boys don't even think that they were victims of crimes.
She didn't think it was the victim's fault. She took ownership, and I was glad to hear
I'm glad that this boy at least recognized he was a victim, even though he didn't report it. His friend did.
She says that she thought her sentence is fair, and I think I agree with her from the victims that It's not a lengthy sentence, you know?
Not at all.
And she thinks it's a fair sentence. She's on a waiting list for some good programs, the New Thoughts program and the Voices program. And she, by her own words, recognized that I think she could benefit from New Thoughts. And I think also the Voices program that specifically talks about what the victim is experiencing in this, you know. And then we heard from the victims' statements from their own words and how impactful that this has been on their family. So all that is a concern of mine, in addition to the fact that, you know, we place trust in school employees, and teachers, and police officers, nurses, and firemen to a higher level than other people. And we send our children to these places with the hopes that they'll be safe and learn, and these kinds of things could never happen. But unfortunately it has. So for me today, I really believe that she could benefit from staying where she's at and continuing with her programming, completing the New Thoughts program, and the Voices program. So I'm in denial for today based on the nature and circumstances and the injury and impact to the family. That's all.
Board Member Keith.
I agree. I had inadequate evidence of offender change, nature, and circumstance of the current offense. And I also could do injury or impact to the victim.
I don't think boys could be injured by
Are
this.
you in a place where you want to bring her back or no?
And I was listening, listening to her change. You know, I do hear some things that she's gained from the program. You know,
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know if it's a complete inadequate evidence of offender change for me.
Yeah, it's not for me.
I'm more concerned about the nature and circumstances of this.
Yeah.
And the injury and impact to the family. And I think that she could benefit from the additional programs.
Maybe it's an inadequate institutional program participation, because I think if she had taken Voices, I'm really excited for her to take. I think I'm hoping we'll have a profound impact.
I'm good with the nature and circumstances of the injury and impact to the victim. But how do you? Is that
You're debating what box
that's
to
something that they
check
could
in
work
this
on
little
while
box
they're
at
in
the end.
there.
Which one do we
Yeah.
do? We
Is
pick every box
beneficial.
here, really. She hasn't changed. Nature of the crime, victim.
But she did take the sex offender program, so I don't want to take that away from her either.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, the jail
All
actually
right,
knew she was a
regarding
sex offender.
Andie
That's a surprise.
Rosafort 450012, I move to deny parole based upon the nature and circumstances of an offense and injury and impact to the victim and the victim's family. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Ms. Rosafort, we're not able to give you parole. We really hope that you make the best of the time that you have left in those programs that you really want to take, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Andie Rosafort denied parole after being given a very lenient sentence for having sexually abused a 14-year-old freshman in high school, in which he was at a party. She invites him to have sex with her in her car outside the party. Then he returns to the party, never told anyone about it, never mentioned it to anybody, kept it a secret, as we always see, even when these cases, millions of boys probably have these secrets that they've had held their whole life, protecting and shielding a pedophile and predator who went on to probably abuse other children, got away with it, even though now we're seeing some boys getting justice and getting millions of dollars worth of compensation for the crimes committed against them by these female predators. This boy, according to Andie Rosafort, was trying to extort her at some point. Well, I mean, he had reason to and cause. The world's not going to give me justice. So, hey, at least this child didn't report anything. At least he knew that it was criminal that was happening to him. I'm a kid. You're having sex with me. That's wrong. And, hey, give me $1,000 on my Cash App card. At least you got something out of it. So, I don't know. He didn't do that. But Andie Rosafort tried to claim he did. And I would say, right on. Good for you, boy, because you actually are different than the millions and tens of millions of other boys that don't even think what's happening to them is criminal because of the distortion and gaslighting that a pedophilic society foists upon them. Andie Rosafort, Connecticut lunch lady in Fairfield, Connecticut, denied parole, and she sought it immediately after the minimum sentence that she was entitled to spend 30 months in prison for Andie Rosafort for committing a second-degree sexual assault, enticing a minor, and risk of injury to a child. She will remain in prison for the other period of time that she's got. And but we saw this attitude of really a cold and calculating person that had no remorse. In fact, she is still of the opinion the victim tried to extort her. So what if he did? Still of the opinion that she claims that she sent him nude videos of herself and photos by accident, as well as the fact that she insists that she didn't request nude photos of the young child when all of the evidence points that she did the crimes that she was accused of. This boy didn't want to report this. So a lot of things that he says in the end, to me, are very highly credible because he has been similarly told that he was a victim and a crime was committed against him, and he cooperated finally. But he didn't want to bring these. This is not a victim charging to the front lines. Most boys don't in these cases. They're not victims charging to the front lines of their victimhood and demanding justice. Thank God for this family demanding justice for this child, because the society wasn't. And she flaunted herself for all of her court hearings, posted all over social media. Basically, she wasn't treated like a pariah. And she wasn't hurt in prison, shanked in prison. She didn't get the Jared Fogle treatment. She didn't get the Larry Nassar treatment. She got the, oh my God, how could you pray for the young boy that put you here? He put you here. It's his fault. It's the kind of support, the supporting cast and role that people have, particularly women. So make pedophiles afraid again, JD DeLay. Let's start with making people stop supporting women and buffering them when they're accused of these crimes and telling them that it's the victims that put these women here. How dare these boys? They're at fault. How could you pray for them? Andie Rosafort will remain her entirety of her sentence, which was generous, as the family said. Lunch lady, Andie Rosafort in Connecticut. Until next time, this is the Dark Underbelly. Keep it right here for more stories like this.